Okay, Calvin, so tell me about the control system in this airplane.
Alright, so sitting here, the idea was to get everything as accessible as possible on the hand controls, to minimize having to reach around and not requiring use of the foot pedals at all. So here we have our rudder stick, steering the nose gear on the ground as well as the rudder. On here as well we have our hand brake, our throttle control, and our elevator trim as well. On the dash we still have our manual our manual backup for the throttle as well. It's important in cases where you have such a critical system on a single servo, as well as just a simple on-off switch to disable it in case anything unexpected happens.
Hi everybody, I'm Dennis and I'm flying with Justin. Justin is a light sport pilot that is getting familiar with his new airplane to him, and I'm going to let you tell you guys about himself, and we'll talk about the controls here shortly. Go ahead, Justin.
Hey, thanks Dennis. Yeah, we're flying over to Jeff City, right?
Right.
Alright, yeah. This is my first cross-country in this airplane with my wheelchair in the back. So I broke my neck about, well, when I was 18 years old, so it's been about 12 years now. And so that caused some paralysis in my right hand. Obviously, you know, like my legs, I have to use a wheelchair to get around. So I did able flight back in 2016 and got my sport pilot certificate. And the challenge after that was, of course, how am I going to keep up this habit of flying? There's not a lot of planes with hand controls, so I got with Sebastian and Zenith Aircraft and was going around at Oshkosh and looking at some of the different airplanes, and this looked like a really good option because there's great access to the door, and of course there's room in the back for a wheelchair. So I was able to wheel right up into it and get it, transfer into the airplane, and the next challenge was then just developing some hand controls for this aircraft. And so what I've got here in front of me is, in between my legs, is the rudder stick. This is very similar to the plane that I trained on, the Sky Arrow. So it's got a front-back movement here. Front will be right rudder, back will be left rudder. You can see that kind of yawing the airplane a little bit. There's also a handbrake here for when I'm taxiing. Have access to the brake, because usually, you know, that's on the toe. You use toe brakes on the rudder pedals. So that replaces that functionality. And here on the very top, I've got a throttle switch. So this is an electronic servo. It's a trio servo motor, so it's usually used for autopilot, but this has been sort of I guess, retrofitted for this purpose. So I push forward on the little switch here, and it's throttle up, back, and it's throttle back. So it's real intuitive. On the other two switches I have here are elevator trim and flaps. So I don't ever have to take my hands off of the controls, which is really nice and convenient, because most people, when they're flying the airplane, don't really have to do that when they're coming in for landing and everything. So very important to have your hands on the controls. On this stick here, this is controlling the roll and the pitch of the airplane. So we've added a vertical grip here, because my right hand is actually paralyzed, so it's hard for me to grip this big stick here. So they've added this little thing here, so my wrist is resting in between the two in the Y stick, and then I've got this here, so I've got really good grip. And you just push down for nose down, up for nose up, and right for right wing, and left for left roll. So I've got all my controls here. It's real convenient, and it feels good to be flying again. It feels really good to be flying again.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I know the guys at Zenith have been working hard on this plane to get it built to your specifications, and we've got this electric throttle set up where if an instructor is flying in the plane with another able flight student, he can switch off the electric throttle and use the mechanical throttle, or switch it back on. So it's also got differential braking on the right side for the instructor. So it's fully set up for Justin, but it's also set up for the instructor, so that he can instruct other able flight students.
Right, that was very important for me in the overall design as well. Not only that I could use the plane, but that it could then be used at Purdue or OSU for the able flight training program every summer. So I'm all about more access to aviation, and I was so inspired by able flight and just what the amazing work they do, and I wanted to continue that. And this plane has actually already been to OSU this year, and 2 able flight pilots have been trained in it. So thanks to this airplane and Zenith, there are now 2 more sport pilots through able flight. So it's really been an awesome project, and I appreciate all the work that everybody's done, and appreciate you flying with me today, Dennis. This has been a real treat.
Got 57 Lima, thanks for the help. Frequency change